If you think you've seen it all when it comes to nightlife, wait until you get to know SOI6, one of the most iconic yet controversial streets in Pattaya. The city, known for its beaches, resorts, and vibrant nightlife, attracts millions of tourists every year. However, while many visitors focus on the famous walking street or explore SOI Bacau, few openly talk about what really happens on SOI6. Located in the heart of the city, this small street stands out for its intense activity and unique atmosphere, blending vibrant lights, loud music, and a constant flow of tourists and locals. So, I6 is known for its small bars that line the street, offering a type of entertainment that can't be found anywhere else. But what really goes on there? Is everything they say about SOI6 true? In this video, we will explore every detail of this legendary street, revealing what no one tells you about the experience of walking through it at night. You will discover how SOI6 differs from other areas of Pattaya, who the people are that frequent the place, and what really happens inside the bars that crowd the area. We will also discuss prices, secrets that few know, and essential tips for those who want to experience SOI6 without falling into traps. Pattaya has a worldwide reputation when it comes to nightlife. Since past decades, the destination has become popular among tourists from various countries, including Europeans, Americans, Australians, and more recently, Chinese and Indians. But beyond the tourist hustle, there is a side of the city that many are unaware of or prefer not to discuss openly. While Walking Street shines with its neon signs and upscale clubs, SOI6 has a different charm. Small, narrow, and packed with small bars, the street offers an experience that can be fun for some and shocking for others. It's not a place for everyone, but it is undoubtedly one of the most authentic and vibrant areas of the city. What makes SOI6 so peculiar is not just the number of bars, but how they operate. Unlike other regions of the city, the establishments on this street have a more direct style, where visitors are quickly approached by the bar staff. This can be a surprise for those who have never visited the area before, but it is part of the street's culture and the experience it provides. But is it safe to walk around there? What precautions should a tourist take when visiting SOI6? And are the prices charged fair, or are there traps for the unsuspecting? These are questions many ask before getting to know the area, and in this video, we will address all of them. Additionally, we will share curious stories from tourists who visited SOI6 and encountered unexpected situations. Some are funny, while others serve as warnings for those looking to explore the street without issues. The goal here is not just to show SOI6 for what it appears to be, but to reveal the behind the scenes of this street that arouses so much curiosity. If you have visited Pattaya before, you have probably heard of SOI6, but do you really know how it works? If you have never been to Thailand, you might have a somewhat distorted view of what really happens there. Therefore, this video aims to provide a realistic and unexaggerated perspective on this much talked about street. Before we begin, an important notice. This content has an informative tone and seeks only to present the facts about SOI6. We are not here to judge, but to show the reality of one of the most controversial tourist spots in Pattaya. Now that you have an idea of what we will explore, get ready, because we are just getting started. In the next chapter, we will better understand what SOI6 is, how it originated, and why it has become one of the most talked about places in the city. Pattaya is a city full of busy streets, but few are as emblematic as SOI6, small in size but large in reputation. This street has become one of the most well-known destinations in Thai nightlife. But what exactly is SOI6, and why does it stand out so much among the other streets in the city? Located between Beach Road and Second Road, SOI6 is just over 250 meters long, but in such a short space, it houses dozens of bars, each with its own identity and style. Unlike Walking Street, where large nightclubs, restaurants, and clubs dominate the landscape, SOI6 has a more intimate atmosphere with small bars side by side. The energy of the place is intense, with music playing at high volume, neon lights flashing everywhere, and a constant flow of people coming in and out of the establishments. What makes this street different from the others is how its bars operate. Unlike Walking Street, where tourists enter establishments more spontaneously, in SOI6, the approach is much more direct. As soon as a visitor arrives on the street, they are immediately surrounded by bar staff who try to entice them inside with smiles and enthusiastic invitations. For those who have never been there before, this reception can be surprising, but it is part of the local culture of the street. SOI6 hasn't always had the fame it has today. In the 80s and 90s, Pattaya was already known as an exotic tourist destination, but SOI6 was still far from what it is now. At that time, the city was rapidly developing to cater to a growing number of foreign tourists. Many of the establishments that now dominate SOI6 emerged during this period, transforming the street into a nightlife entertainment hub. Over time, SOI6's reputation grew, attracting more and more curious visitors and solidifying its name as one of the most emblematic places in Pattaya. Compared to other areas of the city, SOI6 has unique characteristics. Walking Street, for example, is much more diverse, offering everything from upscale bars to large clubs aimed at tourists of all ages. SOI Buakau has a more relaxed atmosphere, frequented by expatriates and tourists seeking a more tranquil and authentic experience. SOI6, on the other hand, is completely focused on intense and straightforward nightlife. But who are the people that frequent SOI6? The answer is not so simple. While most visitors are foreign tourists, there are also many expatriates living in Pattaya who make SOI6 part of their routine. Additionally, some locals also circulate there, either for work or just for fun. The crowd varies widely, ranging from young travelers seeking new experiences to more seasoned tourists who already know the city well. The activity on SOI6 begins in the late afternoon and intensifies as the night progresses. Unlike Walking Street, which peaks around midnight, SOI6 tends to be busier early in the evening, with many bars closing their operations before the larger nightclubs in the city. This is an important detail for those looking to explore the street without missing out on the best of the experience. Another factor contributing to SOI6's fame is its highly interactive environment. Unlike other places where tourists can simply walk in and order a drink, interaction between customers and bar staff is an essential part of the experience on SOI6. For some visitors, this makes the night more lively and interesting. For others, it can be unexpected and even uncomfortable. Regardless of what one expects from Pattaya, SOI6 remains one of the city's most iconic spots. Its reputation may be controversial, but there is no doubt that the street is part of the local culture and the region's nightlife tourism. SOI6 has its own energy, different from any other street in Pattaya. As soon as the sun begins to set, the atmosphere comes alive, and the bars that once seemed dormant transform into hubs of pure excitement. For those who have never visited, the first impression can be intense. Loud music coming from all sides, neon lights flashing in vibrant hues, and dozens of people walking back and forth, some exploring the area for the first time and others already familiar with the scene. As soon as a tourist steps onto SOI6, they realize that this is not an ordinary street. Unlike other areas of Pattaya, where visitors can walk around quietly without attracting much attention, on SOI6 the reception is immediate. The bars are small and very close to each other, so the staff wait at the door for new customers. As soon as they spot a tourist, they don't hesitate to approach them with a smile and phrases like, "Hello, handsome. Where are you going?" This kind of approach can be a shock for those who are not used to it, but it is part of the street's dynamic. Unlike Walking Street, where tourists enter bars more spontaneously, on SOI6 visitors are actively invited inside the establishment. Some people find this interaction fun and lively, while others may feel a bit uncomfortable with the insistence. The bars on SOI6 vary greatly in style. Some have a more laid-back decor with sports or retro themes, while others invest in intense lighting and electronic music. Most follow a similar model: a bar counter, some tables, a small but cozy space, and plenty of interactions between customers and staff. Music is an essential element of the SOI6 experience. Each bar plays a different style, creating a true sound mosaic as one walks down the street. The volume is high, and the styles range from international pop to Thai dance, including classic rock and current hits. This mix contributes to the chaotic and engaging energy of the place. But what is it really like to be inside a bar on SOI6? The experience can vary greatly depending on the chosen venue. In some bars, the atmosphere is more relaxed, with tourists watching sports on TV or just enjoying a drink. In others, the interaction with the staff is more intense, with lively conversations and bar games, such as the famous Jenga or dice challenges, making the experience more laid back. Something that many tourists quickly notice is that SOI 6 has a hospitality culture very different from other places in the world. Bar staff are trained to be sociable and keep customers entertained. This can include anything from simple conversation to drinking challenges, playful antics, and even improvised dancing. For some visitors, this atmosphere is extremely fun and part of the street's charm. However, not everyone feels comfortable with this direct approach. Some tourists who arrive unprepared may find the experience a bit overwhelming, especially if they are used to a more subtle approach in traditional bars and pubs. It is important to remember that in SOI 6, everything revolves around interaction, so those who prefer a more reserved experience may not feel as comfortable there. Another detail that catches visitors' attention is the way tourists are treated depending on their country of origin. Some nationalities are more common in SOI 6, such as British, Australian, and American, but in recent years there has been an increase in the number of Chinese and Indian tourists. This has impacted the street's dynamics, causing some bars to adapt to cater to new audiences. Additionally, the level of comfort of a visitor on SOI 6 heavily depends on their attitude. Those who enter the street with an open mind and without exaggerated expectations generally enjoy the experience more. On the other hand, those who arrive expecting something very specific or with misconceptions about the place may be disappointed. Another important factor of the experience on SOI 6 is the time spent in the bars. Unlike Walking Street, where people tend to stay longer in one place, on SOI 6 it's common for visitors to hop from bar to bar, experiencing different atmospheres throughout the night. This turnover makes each bar try to stand out, making the experience even more dynamic. For those visiting SOI 6 for the first time, an important tip is not to feel pressured. Although the approaches can be intense, tourists are not obligated to enter any bar. A simple nod and a smile are enough to decline an invitation without seeming rude. SOI 6 is one of the busiest places in Pattaya when it comes to nightlife. But one of the first questions that arise among tourists is, how much does it cost to have fun there? Are the prices affordable, or do visitors end up spending more than they expect? In this chapter, we will explore the average prices in the area and provide essential tips to avoid unnecessary expenses. Average prices for drinks and entertainment. Prices on SOI 6 vary depending on the bar, location, and type of service offered. But generally, they are more affordable than those in more upscale areas of Pattaya, such as Walking Street. To start, the most basic item in any bar. Drinks. A local beer, such as Singa, Chang, or Leo, typically costs between 90 and 150 baht, approximately $3 to $5. If it's an imported beer, the price can rise to 150 to 250 baht, $5 to $8, depending on the brand. Mixed drinks, such as gin and tonic, rum with coke, or whiskey with soda, usually cost between 120 and 200 baht, $4 to $7. While more elaborate cocktails can reach 250 baht or more, $8. A particular feature of the bars on SOI 6 is the lady drink culture, which are drinks purchased by customers for the bar staff. These drinks generally cost double the price of a regular drink, ranging from 150 to 300 baht, $5 to $10, depending on the place. Comparison with other nightlife areas. Compared to other areas of Pattaya, SOI 6 has moderate prices. While in Walking Street bars some drinks can exceed 400 baht, $13, on SOI 6 you can find more accessible prices. In areas like SOI Buakau, where the clientele tends to be more expatriate and resident, prices are even lower. In these places, a beer can cost 60 to 100 baht, $2 to $3, which can be an alternative for those who want to save without sacrificing fun. Entertainment costs and other expenses. Besides drinks, there are other expenses that a tourist may incur when visiting SOI 6. Some places offer games, such as billiards and Jenga, which are generally free for customers who are consuming. However, some staff may suggest bets or challenges with drinks, and in those cases, the tourist may end up spending more than planned. Another cost that may surprise those unfamiliar with SOI 6 are the bar fines. This term refers to a fee charged by the bar if a customer wants a staff member to accompany them to another location. This fee varies greatly, ranging from 300 to 1,500 baht, $10 to $45, depending on the bar and time. For those who just want to enjoy the atmosphere and have a few drinks, A night on SOI 6 can be relatively inexpensive, but for those who desire a more complete experience, costs can add up quickly. Tips for saving and avoiding pitfalls. Research prices before entering a bar. Some establishments may charge more for unsuspecting tourists, so it's always good to check the menu before ordering anything. Avoid accepting drinks without asking the price. Some staff may suggest more expensive drinks, and if the tourist isn't paying attention, they may end up paying more than expected. Be cautious with games and challenges. Some bars encourage customers to participate in games with drink bets. If you don't want to spend much, politely decline. Don't feel obligated to buy lady drinks. Although it's a common practice on SOI 6, tourists are not required to pay for drinks for the staff if they don't want to. Have cash on hand. Although some bars accept cards, most still prefer cash payments. Bring a controlled amount to avoid overspending. Negotiate before paying bar fines. If this is an expense that the tourist wishes to incur, it's always good to ask the amount in advance to avoid surprises. SOI 6 is a place surrounded by mystery, curiosity, and many rumors. For those who have never visited, the image one has of this street can be completely distorted by exaggerated accounts, or by the way the media and tourists describe it. But what really happens on SOI 6? What are the myths and truths about this iconic street in Pattaya? In this chapter, we will explore the secrets that few tell about this place. Myths and truths about SOI 6. There are many stories about SOI 6, and some of them are nothing but exaggeration or misinformation. Let's clarify some of the main myths circulating about the street. SOI 6 is a dangerous place. Myth. Despite its controversial reputation, SOI 6 is not a particularly dangerous place. Like any bustling nightlife area, there are risks, but the police presence and authority oversight ensure a reasonable level of safety. However, unsuspecting tourists may fall for scams if they are not careful. Bars charge different prices depending on the tourist. Truth. Some bars adjust prices based on the customer's appearance or nationality. This happens because the owners know that certain tourists are more likely to pay higher amounts without questioning it. Therefore, always check the menu before placing an order. SOI 6 is just for foreign tourists. Myth. Although most of the customers are foreigners, the street also receives Thai visitors, especially on holidays and weekends. Many expatriates living in Thailand also frequent SOI 6 regularly. The bars close early. True. Unlike Walking Street, where nightlife extends until dawn, SOI 6 has a peak of activity earlier, between late afternoon and early evening. Many bars begin to close between midnight and 2 a.m. All the bars on SOI 6 are the same. Myth, although they may seem similar at first glance. The bars on SOI 6 have different atmospheres and styles. Some are quieter, focused on sports and conversation, while others have a more intense party vibe. The behind the scenes of SOI 6, how do businesses operate? To understand SOI 6, it is important to know how businesses operate there. Most bars are not owned by the employees who work in them. These establishments have owners, often foreigners, who manage the place as an investment. The operation of these bars is structured to maintain a constant flow of customers, and direct approaches to tourists are part of this strategy. Another interesting fact is that many of these bars change owners frequently. This happens because, despite being busy, SOI 6 is not a gold mine for all investors. Some establishments succeed while others struggle to stay open for long. This means that over the years, many bars change names, themes, and even management. Another little-known secret is that there is a strong network of contacts among bar owners, who share information about regular customers and strategies to attract new visitors. This explains why certain tourists are recognized and remembered when they return to SOI 6, even after months or years. Surprises tourists don't expect. Many visitors arrive at SOI 6 not knowing exactly what to expect and encounter some unexpected surprises. The direct approach may be more intense than anticipated. In some cases, tourists walking down the street may be pulled by the arm or have their hands held by bar employees. For those not accustomed to this level of interaction, it can be a shock. Prices may change throughout the night. Some bars raise prices after a certain hour, especially for tourists who have been drinking for a while and may not notice the difference. SOI 6 is not just nightlife. During the day, the street has a completely different vibe. Many of the bars are still open, but the atmosphere is much calmer, and some even serve food for tourists who just want to relax. Some bars may charge unexpected fees. In certain establishments, there are additional charges that are not clearly mentioned at the beginning. This can include service fees or extra charges for certain drinks. The unwritten rules of SOI 6, like any busy tourist spot. SOI 6 has unwritten rules that every visitor should know to avoid unpleasant situations. Respect the bar employees. Although the environment is relaxed, respect is essential. Tourists who overstep boundaries or act rudely may be asked to leave the establishment. Don't try to negotiate prices aggressively. While it is common to ask about prices before consuming, trying to haggle excessively may not be well received. Don't take photos without permission. Many people do not like being photographed in SOI 6, so avoid taking pictures without first asking if it is allowed. Be cautious with drinks offered by strangers. Although it is not common, there have been cases where tourists had their drinks tampered with. To avoid problems, never accept drinks from strangers and always pay attention to what you are consuming. Curious stories from SOI 6. SOI 6 has been the backdrop for numerous curious stories. Some tourists report funny situations, such as entering a bar thinking it would be a quiet place and ending up in the middle of an impromptu party. Others talk about getting lost on the street after a few drinks, only to be helped by locals who put them in taxis to their hotels. There are also more unusual accounts, such as tourists who returned to Pattaya years later and were recognized by bar employees they had frequented before. This type of situation shows how SOI 6 has a much larger network of contacts than it appears at first glance. Visiting SOI 6 can be an unforgettable experience, but like any bustling nightlife area, there are risks and precautions that tourists should take. While the street is not necessarily dangerous, there are common scams, unexpected situations, and behaviors that can prevent problems. In this chapter, we will cover everything you need to know to enjoy SOI 6 safely. Common scams and how to avoid them, although Pattaya, in general, is a safe city for tourists. SOI 6 has some traps that can surprise the unsuspecting. Here are some of the most common scams and how to avoid them. Inflated bills. Some bars may try to inflate the bill by adding extra drinks or charges above normal. To avoid this issue, always ask for the menu before consuming anything and check the bill before paying. If something seems wrong, ask politely. The wrong change scam. On some occasions, tourists paying with large bills may receive less change than they should. To avoid this, always count the money before leaving the bar, and if possible, have smaller bills to make payment easier. Adulterated drinks. Although it is not common, there have been reports of tourists having their drinks tampered with, especially if they accepted drinks from strangers. To avoid this risk, never leave your drink unattended and prefer to consume only what you saw being prepared. The advance payment scam. Some bars may ask customers to pay in advance for a round of drinks and then refuse to bring the drinks or claim that the tab has already been closed. Always pay as you go and avoid making unnecessary advance payments. Distractions for wallet theft. Since SOI 6 is an area of high social interaction, some people may try to take advantage of distracted tourists to steal wallets or cell phones. Avoid carrying too much cash and keep your belongings close to your body at all times. Tips for safe behavior. To avoid problems and ensure that your experience in SOI 6 is smooth, it is important to follow some basic behavior rules. Avoid excessive alcohol consumption. Many tourists end up drinking more than they should and become easy targets for scams or uncomfortable situations. Know your limits and drink in moderation. Do not accept challenges or bets without knowing the rules. Some bars encourage games and challenges between customers and staff, but many tourists do not realize that they may end up paying the bill in the end. Before engaging in any games, ask what the rules are and if there are any costs involved. Be respectful to locals. Although SOI 6 is a place for partying and fun, it is essential to treat everyone with respect. Aggressive or disrespectful behavior can result in expulsion from the bar and even involvement with local police. If you need help, ask for guidance from trustworthy staff. If you encounter any problems, seek out the bar management or, if necessary, contact the tourist police, who are usually welcoming to foreign tourists. Police presence and local laws. Contrary to what many think, Pattaya has a strong police presence, especially in areas with high tourist traffic. In SOI 6, there are occasional patrols, and bars usually avoid problems to prevent unexpected closures. Some local laws may surprise tourists who are not familiar with Thai culture. Here are some important points to remember. Drugs are prohibited in Thailand. The country has strict laws against narcotics, and tourists caught with drugs can face severe penalties. Never accept anything from strangers. Fighting and public disorder are taken seriously. Getting involved in arguments or fights can lead to detention, so remain calm in any situation. Offending the royal family is a crime. Thailand has strict lèse-majesté laws, and any disrespectful comment can result in serious consequences. Respect for local cultures and customs. Thailand has a culture that is very different from the West, and respecting it is essential for a positive experience. Some tips include: avoid touching Thai people's heads. In local culture, the head is considered the most sacred part of the body, so touching someone's head, even playfully, may be seen as disrespectful. Remove shoes when entering certain places, although it is not common in the bars of SOI 6. In some establishments, it may be necessary to take off your shoes before entering. Do not point your feet at people or images of Buddha. Feet are considered the most impure part of the body in Thai culture, so avoid pointing them at someone or at sacred images. After exploring all the details of SOI 6, from the experience of walking down the street to the secrets that no one tells you, the big question arises: is it worth visiting SOI 6? The answer depends on what you are looking for in Pattaya and your profile as a traveler. Is it worth visiting SOI 6? If you enjoy lively, interactive environments and want to explore an authentic part of Thai nightlife, SOI 6 might be an interesting experience. The street has a unique atmosphere with small, busy bars, plenty of music, and a diverse crowd. If you are open to new experiences and know how to behave respectfully, you can have a fun night without issues. On the other hand, if you prefer a quieter evening with less interaction and more focus on traditional entertainment, SOI 6 may not be the best place for you. There are other areas in Pattaya that might better suit this profile, such as the upscale bars on Walking Street or the laid-back pubs on SOI Buakau. Who should avoid SOI 6? Although the street is famous and quite safe for tourists, it may not be the best choice for everyone. If you do not enjoy direct interactions or feel uncomfortable in high-approach environments, you might prefer other parts of the city. Additionally, tourists who are unfamiliar with local culture may end up spending more than expected or finding themselves in uncomfortable situations. Another group that may not enjoy SOI 6 as much are those traveling with family. Unlike other tourist areas in Thailand, SOI 6 has a very specific focus on adult nightlife, which may not be appropriate for all types of travelers. Now that you know all the details about SOI 6, we want to know your opinion. Would you dare to explore this street at night? Or, if you have visited Pattaya before, how was your experience there? Leave your comment below and share your impressions about this curious part of the city. If you enjoyed this content and want to see more videos about tourism in Thailand, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. This way, you help us bring more tips and curiosities about fascinating destinations around the world. See you in the next video.